It's Wednesday. Welcome inside the Faith Loop. October 8th, right? Yeah, today's the 8th. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew that. Day 2,112,353 of the crisis of identity. There have been, if you saw, as you're walking into this, we have the thumbnail up, and there's well, I'll start here. I watch a lot of stuff going on. Of course, it's funny too because, or it's interesting to note that it is pockets of places. I think we're immune to a lot of the things going on because, maybe in your own neighborhood, there's nothing going on. It's normal. I mean, I'm just doing what I normally do. I go to the grocery store, go to work, go to the gas station. Nobody's throwing rocks or, tear gas. There's not, craziness happening like in a couple of spots. But I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about these things and what brought me to the subject we're talking about here, because it was a process throughout the whole week, through the weekend, some things I've watched. I watched a podcast last night that has stirred up the internet, that I heard from a radio show coming in this morning, a national radio show talking about this subject and whatnot. It's just interesting when you watch the dynamics of things. And we don't have the contextual meaning of most things. We hear about the American Revolution, right? And, with George Washington, it was great, the whole world, we were telling King George to go stick it. It's not really what it was. Where did it start? There wasn't really any other issues other than in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's where it all happened.
That was it.
Yeah.
They didn't have these conflicts in the other parts of the colonies.
No.
I don't see it in history. I didn't look completely, but from what I understand, there wasn't. I mean, did people like the taxation piece and whatnot? But no, but it was in this one space in Boston, Massachusetts, that these things took place, that started this. And the representatives, nobody liked what was going on.
No.
So they formed the Congress. So they congressed. That's what a Congress is people come together. Mm-hmm. They congress. Okay, it's not a noun.
No. Not a name.
So here they are, and they started sending letters to King George and said, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This is what I find is interesting here in our day and age. You have Portland here and Chicago here. I mean, you've had some other little deals here and there. Okay, fine. But that's what's interesting to me. People don't think, well, it's not happening all over. I mean, yeah, L.A., but Los Angeles, California has been a disaster for, 50 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Long before, and then you saw these similar things on college campuses, sporadic here and there, and
Yep.
in the 60s and 70s, and it hadn't stopped. What do we make of these things? I'm looking at, again, I watched this. It was a Tucker Carlson podcast. He's got this young man. It was Robert Conrad, the actor. Mm-hmm. It was his grandson that was doing this. He's a Christian, And, he's talking about the occult and the occult practices in the rock and roll industry and, just in general. And I'm like, yeah, who didn't know that? If you don't know that, I'm sorry. If I say this and I make light of it because to me it's interesting. Go to the Christian school and they're playing the hippie drug culture music.
At the football game.
I don't know. It's amazing to me. The lack of idea of anything that we have concerning who we are and what we are and how we should conduct ourselves. And people terrorize, it's mark of the beast, the AI. And that was a big part of this was the occultist, Aleister Crowley. If you haven't heard his name before, there was this David Land character, I think is what his last name was. I hadn't heard of him before, but it's been throughout history and whatnot and what AI is. I've said it here what I believe AI to be. I don't think people realize what actually is happening beyond those things. But I'm not going to get into that big a discussion right now. We're going to talk about some of those things next week because I actually started that and I wrote a big piece and I'm going to probably publish a blog with this and we're going to talk about it next week. But I wanted to start here because this morning my wife and I was talking to her. We've been getting up, going on a walk and trying to get my self not going old and lethargic, So, but it gives us a chance. We talk, and we were talking, and this is what came to my mind because as going through this, the scripture, and it's pretty famous. Everybody knows it. You see it right there as we walk by faith, not by sight, and that's always been the big thing. And I couldn't help myself because on the thumbnail to this, it's some guy in a suit with a blindfold on getting ready to step off the precipice. And that's what we think.
Yeah.
Right, Dan?
Leap of faith. I ain't leaping nowhere.
And we use faith like it's a noun, like it's a thing, and it's not. The word itself, where it comes from, its origin is a verb. It should denote action. You've talked about this for many years.
Yep.
In the ministry, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's not something that, how should I say it? It's not mystical. It isn't something we try to strive for. It's not something we try to make up in our mind. People will look at, well, just have faith. Well, did you tell me in what? That's my next question. Faith is something you're convinced of. Faith is something you know. Faith is something you believe unreservedly. You believe it. And
well, it's a knowledge that you're convinced of.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's something you know.
Yeah.
There's a movie where this main character in the movie, he comes up to this precipice, and it's just a cliff, and it's a long way down. But he's trying to get into this room where the chalice is, and he closes his eyes, and he steps off.
Oh, the Indiana Jones movie.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He steps off. Well, all of a sudden, this bridge appears under his feet.
Yeah.
And
the leap of faith.
But see, to me, I got to know that bridge is there before I'm stepping off.
Yeah.
That's faith. I'm convinced the bridge is there.
Yes.
So show me.
Yes.
Give me something that is tangible.
And people will say, well, that's not God. Oh, yes, it is. Because he sent his son, Jesus, into the world to show us the way, the truth, and the life.
He told us.
What part of that are we missing? See, because faith is not knowledge. Knowledge is knowledge.
Right.
But then you must understand what knowledge is true in order to be convinced of it in the
Exactly.
right way.
Yeah, because there's a lot of knowledge that's nonsense. For instance, I'm looking at Facebook the other day, and Dolly Parton died.
Oh yeah, I'm
She's
sure.
dead.
There's a lot of people.
And
that
3
died.
other famous people were dead.
Yeah,
and they're not
they're
dead.
all-
And I'll guarantee you, people looked at that and said, "Oh my God, Dolly, she's passed away."
What in
Oh,
the
my."
wide world of sports is going on?
See, that was
Because they recently said she was having health issues.
yeah, and it was knowledge, but it wasn't true,
Exactly.
so I don't believe it. So I cast that knowledge away. I put it away. It's gone. Right there.
It's funny because we pull this one snippet out of the context of what is being written in this letter. Paul he starts off by saying, "We know that if our earthly house of temporary residence," we translate that word tabernacle, but it's skenos, a hut or temporary residence. Now, Strong says figuratively the human body. No, because then that's the dualism, the spirit, the soul. You're two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that nonsense. I just don't. No. For we know that if our earthly house of temporary residence was dissolved, what's our temporary residence right now? He says it, our earthly house. We're here on this earth. If this were dissolved, which isn't that what it says in Revelation?
Yeah, fire. Going to be destroyed.
I think Paul might have been privy. If it's dissolved, don't worry. We have a building. That's what it says. This is Okidome. It's from Okinomos. It's a house. The architecture to that is concretely a structure, confirmation, building, edification. It's still a matter of we have an understanding of God and a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed with our house, again, residence or habitation, which is from heaven, to be complete, to be whole, in who we are, what we are. If so be, this is King James, so, that being clothed we shall not be found naked. For we that are in tabernacle, in this temporary residency, do groan, being burdened. Not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. He's talking about what we lost and what we are to gain. He's talking about the being born again, the whole understanding of who we are and what we were created to be. Okay? That's the point of this. Now, he that hath wrought us for the selfsame thing, God, who also has given unto us the earnest of the mind. Earnest. Now, that's not a word we use a lot anymore. So, what does he mean by earnest? I mean, that's not English we use. Hang on just a second. My computer's thinking. There it is. I knew I'd get there. It's a pledge. Security. Who has given unto us the pledge of his mind. The ESV says guarantee. And that's what Paul says in Ephesians. The mind of Jehovah as a deposit guaranteeing our inheritance. Mm-hmm. And he's alluding to this here again in the same things. Mm-hmm. Okay? So understanding what he's talking about. Therefore, always confident to exercise courage. Knowing, there's that word knowledge, that while we are at home in the body, soma, the whole, we are absent from the Lord, for we walk by faith, not by sight. There it is. But he says we are confident and willing, rather, to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Basically, this here, he's talking about a present moment, people looking at this, but the word sight there is not what we think it is. And this is where the character, how we've mischaracterized the scripture by Christianity. And this word, Vincent's word study, you can go look this up. He says the correct rendering is appearance. And if you look at the Strong's, it's there as well. The word is not used actively in the sense of vision. Oh, wait. So what does that mean? Faith is contrasted with the actual appearance of heavenly things. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So what are you convinced of? Are you convinced that you were created in the image and likeness of Jehovah and that you're born from above to renew your mind into that new and living way, and therefore you no longer appear as the world appears?
Right.
Isn't that what Paul just said?
Yeah.
I just tried to gussy it up in our English today.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
That we are convinced that we no longer appear as the world appears. And we groan right now going, man, can we get out of this mess? That's what he's saying right there. Yeah, we want to be gone from this. But right now we have to deal with it. Because who wants to be, look around. Do we appear as everyone else? And I think this is what's tragic, Dad. And this is some of the things that brought me to this and looking at this were, Christianity is, in my opinion, appearing just like any other piece of what we look at in the world, in its politics, in its economics, in its faith, and how we approach solutions to existence.
Yep. Well, and Paul, in his writings to one of the congregations, he said, you have a form of godliness, but you deny the power of it.
Yep.
The reality of it.
Yep.
What causes it to really work.
Very good. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Form. Yeah. Well, form is the same thing as appearance. It's a form, but it's not the thing. We don't live by. If we just appear to be something, that's what he told the Pharisees. He said, "You're like painted graves, painted tombstones. Inside, on the outside, you appear very nice. You appear good. You appear all of this, but inside, you're full of dead men's bones, because appearance is all you have, and there's nothing real within you." There's nothing inside. There's nothing in the mind. There's nothing but what you have contrived everything to be.
Exactly. I was looking for that scripture, Dad.
It's in Galatians.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe not.
2 Timothy.
Is it
3.
2 Timothy 3? Okay.
2 Timothy 3, I was in 2, that's why I didn't have 5. So, just starting from the top of this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters. That seems pretty, kind of what's going on.
Pretty close, isn't it?
And he goes on, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures, more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. So from such turn away. See, and I think this is what's interesting here. Paul says all this, and we sit around and we go, well, if I saw people like that, I would know. Would you?
Not necessarily.
Oh, because here's something that I think is very interesting, and I wrote this down because, Dad, we've talked about this on numerous occasions. What do we appear to be? And do we appear to be like everyone else in the world?
Yep.
How do we walk by faith and not simply by an appearance of faith? And I think people can't see our minds, right? They only see the outward appearance of the flesh. So you've said this for years. I can hide my mind from you.
Oh, absolutely.
By my appearance.
Absolutely.
And we think because Paul's, this is easy. Oh, this is disobedient. We'll know that. Disobedient to what? See, he's describing this, so we put disobedient only to a group of people to our government, to the things of men, to the things of this, that.
Right.
And this is not what Paul's talking about. He says that lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers. I see people all the time, they talk about how humble they are and this and that. And in their actions, you don't see any humility.
No.
Blasphemers. Well, if I see somebody, as we would say, cussing God, well, is that blaspheming? No.
No, not according to the term.
No. Something that's blasphemous is you take the Lord's name in vain. You use it. See, this points more to people who say we're Christians and are not.
Yeah.
You take the Lord's name in vain.
Use it without permission.
Exactly. Disobedient to what? Well, sure, we should be as obedient to the the governments of this world
Well,
as
Paul said, obey
right?
the laws of the land as much as you're able.
And you're pretty able.
Yeah. Well, but
Unless they come and say, bow down to Caesar.
well, that's what I'm saying. What it's talking about there is if they would make a law that says I can't
Exactly.
be what I am.
Right.
Now I don't have to. I'm not going to obey that.
No.
And the early church, the early believers, the early assembly, they suffered for that because they would not become involved with the Roman Empire or the Jewish economy, and so they suffered. But as far as the laws out here, don't rob anybody, don't steal, don't. Well, the Lord told us that before these guys ever thought about it or made it or anything else.
Exactly.
So, that's just a given.
One of the things that I think is very interesting here too, Dad, is we look at this and we say disobedient to parents, all right? It's one thing, we know these things, we can see these outwards, and I think there's a lot of things involved within, what is it to be, honor your father and mother that your days may be long in the earth with them. And an understanding of that is adhering to the principles, adhering to who your parents are, what they are. Now, yeah, bad parents, I can't help that. But disobedience is not just a matter of, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. It's a matter of, I'm not going to take on the same character. I'm not going to do and be what you say I have to be. And we see that a lot in the world. Good, bad, or indifferent, faith, this, that. But faith is the substance of your expectation.
Right.
So what is the substance? Substance is the knowledge of who you are and what you are. And so therefore, what am I convinced of? There's a lot of people that walk through this world, Dad, that are convinced of something completely different.
Yes, they are.
Is that not faith?
Well, sure it is. It's just it's bad. It's what I used to call bad faith. There's two types of faith, and there's only one real faith, and that's in the word of the Lord. But if whatever you're convinced of, that's your faith. If you're convinced that politics is the answer, then that's your faith. That's what you're trusting in. It's your whole thing.
And I think we need to flip that a little bit. Just listen to what you say there. Going through this, I think it goes back to the knowledge of good and evil,
absolutely,
and the tree of life. So it isn't a matter of bad persuasion; it's bad knowledge. If you're persuaded of the wrong knowledge,
yeah, and you believe that,
yeah,
and okay, function and dysfunction. This is what the words meant in Hebrew: good and evil, function, dysfunction. Okay. How much function do you see going on in the world today? How much do you really see that's actually functioning in a way that it should? We got wars all over the place. We got people in Nigeria, they're killing believers. They've killed 7,000 of them so far, putting them in work camps and all kinds of stuff. Got all this kind of stuff going on because they believe they can say what is function and what is dysfunction. Well, this is what Adam did. He said, no, I'll decide what is functional. And the Lord said, no, you won't. You're going out of the garden. And since that time, man has, what's our government right now doing? They're saying, one side saying, no, that's dysfunctional. The other side saying, no, it's functional.
Right.
Let's do this. Other side saying, no, it ain't.
Right.
You're a bunch of Nazis. You're a bunch of this. You're a bunch of that.
You're a booger picker. It's a bunch of 5-year-olds in a sandbox, man, calling each other names.
And the other side, they're a bunch of, they're sitting around, and they're guilty of what they're accusing the other side of. And sometimes the other side's guilty of what they're being accused of. And so, you just don't. Do we really know any of these people? No, we saw them on TV in ads.
You don't know them at all. And it's always funny. It reminds me of, that 5-year-old trying to think of something as bad as they can do. You smell like a butt.
Yeah. Like
trying to think of the worst thing we could say about somebody.
It's like my daughter when she was a baby. We lived in a place and we had a rooftop. And the kids would go up there and play. And I went up there one day and Leanne was there. She's just barely talking. Mm-hmm. And she looked like a little Buddha doll. She's sitting there. And I told her something that I corrected her and it upset her. So I walked around and she was facing the other way, but I heard her. And she was saying every word she thought was bad. Like she'd say, dirt, bad. She was cussing, but she didn't know how to. I like to fell over. It was so funny. Bless her heart. And, but that's what she thought. That's what she thought. That's all she knew to say.
And this is all we know to say today.
It's all we know.
It's all we know. Because this is the better part of it. There's these two pieces of this. Having a form of godliness. Well, we hold the truth in unrighteousness. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. Paul says it again here. It's just withholding the truth in unrighteousness. That's what he said to the Romans. He usually brings this to bear because this, as we've talked about, this form that we hold is the image of our Father in heaven. It's true. He is not incorporeal.
No.
He is not incorporeal. I know people don't like it when I say that. Okay. But, it's all right. I look out here and I wonder, well, what are you convinced of then? What are you supposed to be? If we're created in his image and likeness, there has to be an image, because I'm not incorporeal.
No.
Doesn't make sense. Because, and this is what this proves here, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. So what are we convinced of?
Yeah.
Are we truly convinced of the truth? Are we convinced of the truth?
And what knowledge are we getting, see?
Because I think most of the Christian world appears just as the world does. See, because I listen to a lot of these Christians and they want to go and shoot these people in the face with a bazooka.
Yeah.
We want to go to war, man. It's civil war. We got to go fight. We got to, yeah. Wait. I thought our kingdom is not of this world. If it were, then would my servants fight? But it is not. So for now, and this is what Paul alludes to in 2 Corinthians, we groan. I mean, it's like, my goodness, do we have to deal? And we do groan a little bit. Look at all this. Why are we doing this?
Right. Well, one of the more radical examples of what Brian just said, if you don't know this, go read, go look, go study it. The Ku Klux Klan that operated, and I think there's still Ku Kluxers around. I don't,
absolutely.
they're not able to do what they used to do. But
Right.
do you know most of them were good Christians?
Yes.
Baptists,
Well,
Methodists?
They confess Christianity.
Oh yeah, they went to church. They did everything, and yet
Whole doctrine was based on
they
it.
would hang a black man for nothing, for
Yeah.
no reason at all, just kill him. Well, wait a minute.
Well, they were really Christians. Oh.
Well, they said they were. They gave an appearance, didn't they?
Yes. Yes. And see, what does that make people think? And we talk about, well, the church, that's not Christian. Well, but we've talked about it and documented this. It's documented. I shouldn't say we have, but it's documented, Dad. We've brought this to bear on numerous occasions. The history of this.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a just war?
No. No, not really. Not really.
Is there a justification for expanding the empire?
No.
Because the Crusades weren't about the Holy Land. Well, it was about the Holy Land.
Well, as I've always said, where in the Bible do you read, anywhere do you read where Jesus said, take a sword and go kill everybody that won't convert?
Never.
Or that you consider a heretic?
Nope.
Where did he say that?
Didn't.
And yet this is what they did. By this sign conquer is what Constantine said he saw. By this sign conquer.
That should be a red flag right there.
Right there. Red flag. And then when the Protestants were in power, they would kill the Catholics. They would go after them and kill them.
Now, there are people, Dad, that will say he only meant by going and preaching the gospel. Well, that's not what they appeared. That's not what they did.
No, they went to war.
They went with the pointy end of a sword.
Yeah. Well, in Europe, when Catholicism was totally in power in Europe, you couldn't own land. You couldn't buy or sell. You couldn't do anything like that unless you were a Catholic.
That's correct.
You couldn't do it. See, so when was that fulfilled, what John said in Revelation? They won't be able to buy or sell, own property. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
They had to live out in the woods and eke out of existence the best they could. In Geneva, when John Calvin was there, he was a Protestant. If you didn't go to a church on Sunday morning, you were put in jail. You were found and you were punished. It was mandatory that you go to service. Whether you believed in it, whether you liked it, whether you didn't, it doesn't matter. But there's the appearance. See, here, look at it's full, man. Look at the appearance.
Yep.
Well, appearance, what appearance? Half those people sitting there were mad because they had to go. They wanted to go get Calvin and hang him up by his toenails. So,
convinced?
I don't understand. And this is another point of this. Many of the agnostics and the atheists in the world will cite those things.
Yeah.
And say, is that the way it's supposed to have been?
Yeah.
Yeah. They will. They'll cite it and say, well, I don't want anything to do with that.
No.
See? So what have we done?
Yep.
What has Christianity actually done in the world? Now, when I say Christianity, I'm talking about the institutions, because I believe there are people in these denominations or whatever that love the Lord and are not really
are working out their salvation.
Yeah, they're working out their salvation, and they're not just. But these entities that dictate the doctrine of that institution, friend, I think they need to get on their knees and do some praying and repenting or something.
That's what I'm saying. I will tell people, get out of it.
Yeah, leave it.
Get out of it. Listen, look, go read Revelation. And when you read 17 and 18, I was reading it again last couple days. Get out of her, says the whore, prostitute.
Yeah.
And I know people, well, what do you mean, Brian? What are you talking about? It isn't so much what people think a particular place or this. No, it's the mindset. What are you willing to give up to have an appearance of godliness and deny the power? What are you willing to give up to say, well, I'm a Christian, but I think we need to make sure our government is this, and we got to get a Christian president, and we've got to get this and whatnot. Isn't that what Israel said? Samuel, your sons are a mess. We can't, if we're going to do this, man, we got to have some better things, because they're taking bribes. That was a political thought process.
Here's a classic example. Okay. How many people would say that we have a Christian president in this country?
Hang on one second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, because I just want to finish, and then because I going to right where you're going. But the problem is, listen to what was said to Samuel from Jehovah. They didn't reject you.
They rejected me. And most people would say that Donald Trump's a Christian. He says he's a Christian.
Sure.
Okay, I'm watching a clip of Erica when she spoke at that big rally in Phoenix.
Erica Kirk, yeah.
Erica Kirk, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I forgive them.
Yeah. I forgive the man that shot my husband dead.
And you know what? I think she was serious. I think she meant it.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump speaks. And he says, well, this is where I disagree with Charlie. I hate him. Oh.
Wait
a minute. What kind of an appearance are you giving? You hate them?
If you hate your brother,
yeah,
you've committed murder in your heart, in your mind
I
already.
I hate my enemies. Well, the Bible said love your enemy.
Yeah. That doesn't mean he can't repent of that.
No, it doesn't mean at all.
But that shows you exactly what you're talking about.
It's the appearance. And he said out of his mouth what he actually believes.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
So, and he acts it.
And I haven't seen anything that would change my mind to the effect that he still hates him.
Oh, he does, yeah. Yeah, he's after him. Yeah. Right now, in my opinion,
I'm just saying.
Our government right now is just in a war.
Well, yeah,
They're just fighting one another in
it's
court
war.
every day. They're doing this, they're doing that.
Well,
who's running the country?
Yeah, that's, I'm going to do this next week. I want to talk about this because, you hear the term civil war. Well, in the term civil, we think, well, how can you, is anybody civil?
Can you be civil to that person?
But looking at, I want to go back through
It's a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Yes, hold still. I don't want this to be too bad on you. I'm going to cut you in the fifth rib, but we're going to do it in a civilized manner.
Right, yeah. I won't hurt you too bad, Kill you quick.
We're justifying, this is what we say. It's what I believe about things, and it's so different than what we've been told so many years within Christianity. We work diligently. Mankind works so hard to justify himself in his own actions in what we see in the world. Every day you have these people on TV working to justify their position. We're righteous. And the scripture says there is none righteous, no, not one. Jesus, when the man said to him, "Good master," he says, "Why'd you call me that?" There's only one who is good, who's truly functional, and that is Jehovah. That's because that's where all life stems from, our image and likeness and everything that we are, and you can understand and see that. And this justification for mayhem, this justification for existence, there is no justification for man in the earth because he's under a sentence of death. And any continuation of the rebellion in the attempt to create our own name is a slap in the face, a rejection of the true king. That is Jehovah. So we don't walk by just an outward appearance of what people want to see. We have to walk by what we're convinced of. And that's the point. That's where it's at. So choose you this day whom you will serve, blessing or cursing, life or death. That's all we have.
That's all.
And it can't be just an outward appearance. And and as soon as when I was going through this, that was the first thing that popped in my head when Jesus looked at the Pharisees that day. That's why he could say that. He says, "No, you're of your father, the adversary, and his lust will you do." And we have Abraham as our father. And he kept on and kept on, and he says, "No. You guys are like painted graves. You look good on the outside, but inside you're full of dead men's bones." Because we go to look at some of these, graveyards, man. You see these monuments and granite beauty, and you're like, whoa. And people are like, oh, this is what Jesus is talking about.
Yeah.
But inside you're full of dead men's bones. We need to make sure that we understand what this is all about and how we walk by our conviction so that our outward appearance shows who we are in the way we think, and we're not hiding ourselves. No. I'm not hiding anything from anybody. I'm telling you exactly what I think. And that's what I appear to be. That's what I want.
You know, when you're talking about Jesus saying, "Why did you call me good?" There's a real significance to that, and most people miss it. We just look at it and okay. Yeah. What did he do there? He was the second man, Adam. Mm-hmm. And he denied what Adam accepted.
Yes. That's a great point, Dad.
He said, why do you call me good? I didn't come here to decide what's functional. I come here to tell you who
It's functional.
is functional. And there's only one. He functions. And he decides what's functional. I don't. I just come to tell you about him.
That's right.
I'm his son.
Yeah.
And he denied what Adam did. And he didn't do it. Therefore, the Lord could say at his baptism with John, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. Because he come to tell you about me. He come to tell you about the truth, what I really am, who I am. Unlike Adam. And so,
One unequivocal truth, Dad. One.
yeah.
Every man a liar.
Jehovah the truth.
So I think we need to pay attention to what we're doing.
Yep.
Hope that helped you think. That's our goal each and every week. Tune in again next week. Pammy will be back with Dad on Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday. And we're going to keep bringing these, what we see in the world, what's going on in the world. How do we understand that, look at it, and still hold our true appearance in what we know to be the truth. Until then, everybody, have a great day in the Lord. Always remember to give love.
Give life.
And give Jesus.
Amen.